And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
45. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Good morning, folks. You know the drill. Let me know if you can hear me in chat and see, for the first time ever, that Blue Origin rocket booster coming into Port Canaveral. Over in chat, I'm going to be reading it. My name is Das. I see some 5x5s happening over there, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, this is the second rocket to come back in vertical on a ship. Second type of rocket to come back in vertical on a ship. I threw that vertical in there for the Rocket Lab fans out there. Good grief in the YouTube comments. We're going to be bringing live coverage. We have the crew all the way out there at Port Canaveral with cameras galore, sharing it with you live and talking about it as it comes into Port Canaveral. Apparently, there's a helicopter there in the background and an awful lot of birds. But you know it's not just going to be me. Oh, that helicopter was in front of that rocket booster. That thing is big. You know, it's not just going to be me talking this morning. I'm going to have some folks with me, starting with Marty. Marty, we got you on the stream?
Well, good morning, Das. Everyone has been asking, where's Jacklyn? And we've got the answer. It's right there. It's outside of Port Canaveral, and it has a booster on top. So this is amazing.
Excellent. I appreciate you joining us this morning, Marty. Also out there in the field, we've got Julia Bergeron. Julia, you're out at the port, aren't you?
Das, good morning, and good morning, everyone. Kind of feels like, I don't know, about 2020, back when we were originally chasing SpaceX boosters back into port.
There you go. It's good to have more boosters to chase back into. I guess chase. We're not really chasing it right now. It's coming towards us. You're just staying on the end. Where are you at?
Right now, I'm kind of at the rocks over by Jetty,
Gotcha. All right. So
kind
right
of
there.
bouncing back and forth. Yeah,
Yep, right there at the entrance to the port.
absolutely.
Okay.
There's a lot going on here at port today.
So the
I
birds
think we
seem
even
to
have.
agree.
I know the birds are hungry today. We may even have other payloads coming into port while we're waiting.
I think we saw a photo bomb of some hot dog tanks go past the booster a little bit ago. It's like all tubes at the port this morning. We have vertical tubes, we got horizontal tubes. They're all over the place. Also, I believe, I'm not sure if we've got D on comms right now. Let's see if D checks in. D may be setting up some additional cameras, but I know D Wise is out there as well. And also in the field, Max Evans is aboard a helicopter right now, getting some aerial shots this morning. Not the helicopter you see in frame, but another helicopter, that tour helicopter coming out of the port to get some of those early aerial shots. But Max not going to be on comms as he is on the helicopter getting some shots. We're going to be hanging out with you. You know the drill. Put some chat questions over there for us. Tag us at NSF or at NASASpaceflight. One will autocomplete, the other one won't. But just ask us some questions. We'll talk about some stuff, and we will get this party going. Marty or Julia, whoever has the answer to this one, do we know about how far offshore the booster is right now? Julia is probably the better option there.
Hold
far
on one second.
Okay.
Let's pull up marine traffic and see. I can tell you from just with my Mark II eyeballs, we're just about off a couple nautical miles off the tip of Cape. Now, if you pull up marine traffic, oh boy, I can tell you I'm not Gavin, but I can tell you that they are going 3.7 knots, and we've got about 3 nautical miles between there and the tip of jetty.
All right, so we've got a little bit of time here. It's probably a little bit less than an hour before this thing gets right up next to us, huh?
Absolutely.
God,
But you
oh
know,
look,
port traffic is port traffic, and hot dog tanks and other things happen. So,
look how busy it is out there. There's the tanks over on the left-hand side of the screen. There's a helicopter hovering. There's Jacklyn being towed in. What a morning out there at Port Canaveral.
oh yeah.
Those look funny. The tanks laying down look funny. The rocket vertible, the tanks laying down. Marty, let's talk this morning. Give us a recap of the mission. Blue Origin launched this rocket just a couple days ago, and now we've got it coming into port. Give us a recap of what went on with the mission.
Yeah, so just a few days ago, on Thursday, November 13th, this rocket took off from, well, right next to where we are right now, Launch Complex 36, Blue Origin's launch complex.
I think
it
that's
launched-
that's Max in the helicopter. Sorry, Marty.
Ooh,
That's the
hi, Max.
I
helicopter
was just
going
going to
over.
say, Max flew over me just now.
Everybody say hi to Max. Go ahead, Marty.
So yeah, this rocket launched carrying 2 satellites for NASA, the Escapade mission. Satellites were built by Rocket Lab, and they're now on their way to Mars, or more specifically Lagrange Point 2, where they will be staged for a couple of months before they head off to Mars in next year's Mars transfer window. But that wasn't the end of the mission, because unlike the first flight, where the booster didn't make it through re-entry, this booster, called Never Tell Me the Odds, defied all the odds, ignited its engines upon re-entry, and, after re-entry burn, it then went all the way through to landing, where for just a moment we thought it was missing the landing platform called Jacklyn.
Yep.
But it turns out it took a page out of the book of Neil Shepard, and it hovered for a while, targeting first right off of the platform, and then moving over, translating over to the deck of the barge, where it touched down pretty much in the center from the looks of it. So just a few days later, Jacklyn is back in port, or nearly back in port, with a booster on its deck, and we know why and how that happened.
Excellent. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen, those tugs are exiting the port right now. That's the port in the background. And the tugs are leaving the port, ostensibly to escort the booster in. So everything's shaping up for an arrival here this morning, and we'll keep you going. You can see the tugs aren't at ground level. The view of the tugs isn't at ground level because we've got the drone up as well to capture the booster when it gets a little bit closer. I know Dee is setting up cameras out there on around the port to get us some different angles and different shots and ability to zoom in and inspect. What we see on the right-hand side is our 24/7 Cape Cam that's stationed out there at the entrance to the port. You can watch that anytime on Space Coast Live, but we'll be here hanging out as this thing comes in. When Max gets back down with the helicopter, we'll bring you some of the aerial shots, but actually, we couldn't wait to see the rocket booster come back in. So yesterday, the NSF team out there at Cape Canaveral got aboard a deep sea charter, like an offshore charter, and went out closer to the booster. So we'll have some of those shots coming to you in just a little bit as well. Stick around, and we couldn't wait. We literally went out there. We flew the drone around it yesterday. We got some shots from the water. Dee got some video from the water, and whoa. That helicopter's wigging me out. Like the scale of the helicopter and the scale of the booster. I saw the helicopter go towards the booster and then back up, and every time that thing flies towards the booster, it catches my eye. Let's see here. Questions in chat. I'll scroll through the chat and see if we've got some questions. Julia, I don't know if we have a lot of information because this is the first time a New Glenn booster has returned to port. How's it compare with the Falcon 9 return? I mean, it seems so... It depends on exactly where the drone ship was for the mission landing, and that tells you how long it comes back. What are the sea states like? How do you feel this is compared to a Falcon 9 return, Julia?
To be honest, Das, they're very, very similar. They go offshore about the same distance. if this wasn't their first try, I bet you they'd have been back sooner, right? Because there was a lot to learn upon landing and how to safe the booster, secure it, offload fuel. So they stayed offshore a little bit longer. Otherwise, you know what? I think these are going to be almost carbon copy of Falcon 9 returns in the too distant future.
Gotcha. We saw the booster was off of Port Canaveral yesterday, and it sort of hovered. Well, it didn't. It finished its hover when it landed. It sort of just kept station off the port. It looked to me like that thing could have come in a day earlier than it actually did. We don't have an official answer as to why that happened, but I wonder if they didn't get close to port and then make sure that everything was cool. Like the booster is completely safe, it's secured, it's connected to the deck, battened down, et cetera, whatever you want to call it. All the fluids are safe before they bring this thing into Port Canaveral for the first time. Do you think that makes sense as to why they stayed offshore for sort of an extra day?
I do think that makes sense. Now, we do need to remember this is a cruise ship port, and yesterday was, I do believe, another 4 cruise ship days. So, with this being the first time this vessel's coming in with fuel on board, that is one difference between Falcon
Yep.
9 and New Glenn is you can't just offload lock and come in with almost nothing on board. There is the LNG or methane that is on board. So you're right, they could have been doing some extra saving. And another thing to keep in mind is, as a general, Port Canaveral Port Authority wouldn't want something a first time coming in at night. Even SpaceX, with as often as they bring in Falcon 9s, it's not a very it happens, but not a very common occurrence for Falcon 9s to come in at night. And they usually only request that when they need a super quick turnaround to get back out for the next mission. So
Yeah.
for the next couple, I'd expect they're going to wait offshore until daylight and other traffic is cleared and then bring her in.
Gotcha. Hey, it is early in the morning. I appreciate Jay, if you could help us out. Port Canaveral's not quite spelled correctly in the lower third, but we can get that fixed. Thanks for looking out there, Gallegos, I think your name is, Gallegos78. We'll get that fixed for you real quick. Just not quite enough coffee in the morning as we were standing by ready for this early morning view. Now, you can see we're getting a little bit less haze in the rocket shot there. It's getting clearer the closer that thing comes to port. Is this a different camera? Do we get D's camera up now, maybe? Maybe that's that other view we're getting here. Let's see which camera that is. And Marty, if you could help me out, do you have the ability to scroll through chat and get some questions? Do you have the panel up or?
I don't have the panel.
Okay. Can you scroll through chat and get some questions for us while we continue to watch the rocket coming back in?
Let me have a quick look. Just a second.
Good deal. Let's see here. There was some talk around stage separation tech being a little confidential, and they would try to cover it up. What do you think? Well, you can see an awful lot of little sticks sticking out the top of the rocket there. If I'm not mistaken, Blue really wanted that stage to separate and put a whole boatload, no pun intended, of pushers, if I'm getting that correct, out the top of the rocket. Now, is it super confidential or not? I don't see a tarp across it. I don't see things retracted or anything like that. I haven't heard anything about that, but I guess there's one way to find out. It really doesn't look covered up. I agree with you there, Troy Rupert. But we'll see as it gets closer. If folks in a black Suburban drive up and tell us not to point our cameras at the little sticks sticking out the top of the rocket, we'll let you know. We don't know. You know, another thing, and I see this quite a bit in chat, is this thing is clean. Of course, the skeptics in the audience will say, oh, they crashed the booster and they had another booster out there already on the barge. I don't know how they got it out there if you think that that's how that worked. Julia, did you see a second sneaky rocket leave port the other day to fake the landing on the barge?
No, I did not. I saw no such thing. But you're right, it is a very clean rocket, and that has a lot to do with the kind of fuel that it burns.
Yeah, it's with the engines on this, you get on the Falcon 9 that RP1, that space kerosene, right? And the space kerosene is a more complex hydrocarbon. When it burns, it leaves a little bit of soot. It leaves some carbon-esque particles that deposit themselves all over the rocket, especially when it's doing that supersonic retropropulsion, right? On the New Glenn booster here, it does not use RP1. I was going to say space kerosene again. It doesn't use that kerosene fuel. It uses methane on the first stage. And that methane, and I guess the mixture of methane that they're burning here, burns a lot cleaner. So you don't get, I'm not going to say any, but you don't get that soot that deposits itself on the rocket. So this thing coming back in with our drone shots from yesterday, we'll have up on the screen in just a bit here for you. This thing is clean as heck. It's still shiny with light sort of reflecting off the side of it. Does it look shiny to you, Julia?
It does look shiny to me. And you know what, Das? If you go on Blue Origin's website, it actually doesn't say methane. It says LNG or a blend of
Oh,
LNG, which doing your research tells you it is primarily methane, but LNG itself actually burns cleaner than just methane.
you are
Now you
correct.
know.
Thank you. Yeah. There's that whole the whole conversation there, like, is LNG methane? It's like, yeah, it's a lot of methane. We wonder if it's just
There's some
marketing
cruise ships of
sometimes.
ours too. Hey, fun fact, there's some cruise ships that operate off LNG in our port, and we have certified firefighters to fight LNG fires, which makes it even safer for New Glenn to be coming in and docking because we do
Gotcha.
have those assets in Port Canaveral.
And on the screen right now, there's is that the launch pad in the background? This is the live drone view from the port right now. It looks like Jerry's got the drone up. Look at this thing. Are there any people? There are people walking around on the deck. Do y'all see the tiny people down at the foot of that rocket booster? You know what we're gonna get to see, Julia?
People for scale?
The people for scale, but we're also gonna get to see the scale of New Glenn versus the Falcon 9s.
I know. So I get to take two selfies today, Das. One of them is as this booster comes into port, which will be number 280 for me, by the way, which means holy cow, I've seen a lot of rocket launching.
Yep.
281 is going to be the first time that we have seen three boosters in port, two different rocket families, and pretty darn cool.
You got it. This is gonna be too cool. Now, is it gonna go all the way into port past where we see the Falcon 9s? What do we expect today, Julia?
Yeah, it's probably as the perspective is from Rusty's. We'll put it that way. When we're looking at our cameras, it will dock to the left of or west of the SpaceX boosters. That is where uh, Blue Origin has their port equipment, and I
Right.
believe it's called a breakdown mechanism, something
Breakover.
like that. Breakover. Thank you, breakover. Everything is kind of odd with the wording with Blue. I'm still learning, y'all. So give me some grace in chat.
I don't know
But
what
they have their own
upended
crane.
means.
I don't know. All I know is flamey end goes up. Or sorry, pointy end goes up,
Wait.
flamey end goes down. Go ahead,
Flamian
chat.
goes
Do
up.
your thing.
Yeah, Flamian goes up while it's returning, I guess, because the flames sort of pass the booster as it descends through the atmosphere. We'll
There
allow
you
it
go.
that way.
Yeah, all the same. It's a little some new words to learn today, but all of their port equipment is to the west of the SpaceX operations, but within reach of the port mobile cranes if those are needed to assist.
Gotcha. It'll be the first time they've done this. We haven't seen Blue Origin take like a Pathfinder booster out there and load it on or off the barge, have we?
They've
Not
done
loading
something.
on or off. I think just using the mechanisms out
Yeah,
there
using the
on the
breakover.
dock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, I was just going to say that they have definitely done some testing, but not with a full booster, I believe.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes the first time, but it'll be right there across from our cameras at Rusty's. God, the people on the deck. Look how clean this thing looks, y'all.
And it's
And
so
speaking of
massive.
people, there's a lot of folks from Blue Origin with their families out here on the rocks, on the jetty. I've seen some New Glenn flags. There's a lot of pride going on here. This is their baby and it's coming back.
Yep. Oh, there's all those push rods at the top as well. And it is getting closer and closer. Does it feel like it's getting closer, Julia? It looks like it's right there to us.
Oh yeah, I'm at the rocks and it's very much at the tip of jetty right now. So
Excellent.
um,
Now, folks, a bit
I
of important information here. We have today Jerry Pike out there. The drone views you see coming from the port live, that's being flown by Jerry Pike. Jerry is a professional drone operator who's licensed and trained to do this, but more importantly, usually cannot fly a drone around the port. And we worked with Port Canaveral today to get special permission to fly the drone inside the normal port area where you normally cannot take that drone. But this is not something that you can just roll up to Port Canaveral and do. We went through a lot of conversations with the official folks at the port. There you can see the port in the background. But please, if you're out there today and you think you're just going to go and take off with a little camera drone you've got and fly around the port, you will be in trouble. That is not something that is normally allowed. That is a no-fly zone as we get closer to the port here. And we have this drone up today because we have a professionally licensed drone operator flying it, and we have specific permission from the port to do this today. Please do not go out there and cause a ruckus. This took a lot of work to get going so that we could bring you these views in a safe and I guess we could say official manner today. We'll repeat that a couple times through the broadcast, especially as we get back into port, just so that everybody knows. Go ahead, Julia.
I also want to add to that disclaimer that as the booster does go toward docking and we're closer down to the restaurants, the same rule applies there as well. There are signs posted.
Yep.
It's not uncommon for someone to try and launch a drone and a whole crowd of people to start yelling, but they don't get in trouble. So please don't be the person to launch that drone.
Gotcha. All right. How we looking, Marty? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It would be amazing to see this booster up close and see what it looks like after its first flight. I mean, we've already seen some of the photos that crew took yesterday, but with it back in port, I'm sure we'll be getting even better views.
Good deal. I'll keep scrolling through chat and see if I can find some questions as well. And we'll see if we can check in with the other folks out there in the field too. God, those birds. Those birds need to stay away from the drone, I tell you that much. There are an awful lot of birds out there having breakfast, Julia.
Well, I mean, it is morning in Port Canaveral, and this is what we do. I mean, the humans have their coffee and watch ships go by and boosters come in, and the birds, well, they're hungry for their fish.
They're
And
hungry
the
for
fishermen are now out, which means there might be some more bait to be had too.
Gotcha. Let's see if we can't check in with Dee out there. If I'm not mistaken, Dee is at the jetty as well, bringing us camera feeds. I'm going to see if we've got Dee. We got you, Dee?
It sure sounds like it. Yeah, I'm out here at the jetty. You know, there are tons of people out here gathered. There are photographers, a bunch of Blue employees. Everyone's just really excited to see this rocket come back into port for the very first time.
Excellent. Are you set up with you have a few cameras, I imagine?
I am a little bit light on the setup with a single camera so that I can relocate once GS1 gets past us here, so I can get to a few other locations on the way before Jacklyn actually docks in the port. So a
Gotcha.
little bit light, but hopefully with the goal of being able to provide extra perspectives throughout the return here.
Makes good sense. Dee, Julia, I know Max is up in the helicopter as well. Jerry out with the drone. Thank all of y'all for rolling out this morning. Remember, it's 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time right now. So almost an on-time arrival into port. But you don't show up at 7:59. You get up at 5:30. You get up at 6 o'clock. You roll out there to get the equipment ready. It's a little bit dark. The sun's coming up, but massive thanks to the team for getting up early. Look at these views.
You know, Das, you're talking as if any of us would have missed this moment. We did have to wake up early to get it for the rest of y'all.
That is sort
Absolutely.
of that is what we do here at NSF. Folks, if you don't know who we are, what we do at NSF, we're an independent bunch of space nerds who reached critical mass. We love rockets, we love spaceflight, we love aerospace as well, and we just sort of grouped together with our love of rockets and our, I guess, understanding of technology that we could use to share rockets with you. But this is what we do. We're not an official NASA broadcast. We can say whatever we want on these streams. They're not scripted. Nobody's holding up little info cards as to what we need to say next and that sort of stuff, and unless the info card says that we need to mention the merch, so we can pay for this. But we can only do this with y'all's support. So this morning, if you want to support the team, you can do super chats over there. We've got tips.nasaspaceflight as well. You can go direct to us and cut out the middleman to support what the team's doing. Buy them some breakfast or something like that. I don't know. Julia, you got a couple coffees we need to pay for, right?
I do have the day job after this, so coffees would be good.
Coffees before the day job. Marty, there on the
This is a
bottom.
fun job.
Yeah, it is. On the bottom, Marty, we can see the name of the booster, can't we?
We can. Yeah, this one is called Never Tell Me the Odds, in reference to, well, the chances it might stick its landing. The first booster was, for the first flight in January, was called So You're Telling Me There's a Chance.
Yeah.
And for that booster, there was not a chance it was going to stick the landing because it didn't even make it through the re-entry.
Right.
But the odds were in this one's favor. And as we can see, it definitely stuck the landing. And it's coming back into port.
I like the Star Wars references here, right? You've got Falcon 9, the Millennium Falcon, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's confirmed. That's what it was named after. Here you've got Never Tell Me the Odds, which is, of course, Han Solo screaming at, or not screaming, yelling at C-3PO, if I remember correctly, the chances of successfully navigating something or other. But I appreciate, however many years, what was that? 50 years? No, Star Wars isn't 50 years old, is it? Good grief.
I'm 51 and it's about my age, Das.
Things that we were imagining not quite 50 years ago, I'll go with that, here today, inspiring actual space technology that we see existing in the real world as this massive rocket booster comes back to Port Canaveral. 48 years, thank you. Good grief. Somebody tell me exactly how old it is. I didn't look it up. I wasn't thinking it out loud. I was like, wait a second, how many years is that? That's too many years. All right. Folks, you can see it is entering the jetties there. In the background of the drone shot, that is Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. As we orbit around here, you're going to see the launch pad in the very right-hand edge of the screen. That's where that rocket launched from just a few days ago. And we are getting right here to the entrance of the port as we bring this to you live. I'll keep getting some questions. Apparently, there is a super chat that came in as well. Shazbert Toddbot. Waking up is for the weak. I've been up all night in New Orleans just to watch this. Let's go. Spelled, of course, with the Louisiana style of spelling go. Appreciate you, Shazbert. Thank you for supporting what we do and appreciate the super chat there. We got a membership joining as well. Peak Huber 2 joined the Pad Rat program. See, if you were in the member program, you could have seen the drone shots of New Glenn last night because we sent that deep sea offshore vessel. I guess it's not deep sea, it's an offshore vessel out last night to capture those shots before anyone else. And we uploaded those to members here in our Discord and on the YouTube channel. There's a little button that says join, subscribe. It's not subscribing like the free click, but it's the join. And if you join the member program, you can get some of those sorts of things, sometimes faster than we put them out there to the public, or sometimes we put out one image, but then the members get another 50 images behind the scenes. So another really cool way to support what we do. Marty, is the feather gone? Didn't it have a feather painted on the deck? I don't
think
see
so.
it. Yeah.
But yeah, when we saw the landing, there was loads of flames, so it might just have burned off the paint. And we see the same with the SpaceX drone ships. Like after a few landings, they just painted or cleaned up the deck, and then a few landings later, it looks all rusty and worn down again. So I wouldn't be surprised if after just one landing of a new Glenn booster, Glenn Stage 1, we would see the same on Jacklyn.
Yep, makes sense. And you know something? I don't know if I'm imagining this. I don't actually even know. Gosh, I need to go and compare it. Is one side of the landing deck a little bit more affected as it did that sort of power slide over? I don't know if I'm just imagining that one side looks a little more crispy than the other. Do you see what I'm sort of thinking I'm seeing there?
Yeah, I think I'm seeing the same, and it would make sense because it targeted right off of the side of the ship, and
Yep.
then it moved over. So it would have roasted that side of the barge with the flames coming out the end of the rocket.
Yeah. There in the upper left-hand corner, you can see Jetty Park Pier. That's where some of the folks are out there today. I think we've got another voice that you've heard on our stream. Not checking into comms, but out there today. I'm going to see if the picture pops up. Yeah, there you go. We've got DYs on the left, and then Ryan Weber made his way down to... I was going to say Port Canaveral, made his way down to the Cape with a fantastic Hawaiian shirt. It's got a dragon capsule on it there. But you can see New Glenn in the background as they watch this return come in. Ryan doesn't live down there. Ryan came down to the Cape and, if I'm not mistaken, scored like 3 rocket launches and a return over a week or something to that effect. Anyways, Ryan will correct me in chat.
I was going to say, Ryan has gotten a double header SpaceX launch, a New Glenn launch, a New Glenn return, and several return to ports for Falcon. I think Ryan got a pretty good vacation.
Jeez. It's not a bad problem to have to come down for a vacation, and the port, the Cape, being so busy with rocket activity, catching all of these things going on out there. Let's see here. Robert, you think it's just the shadows looking different? I don't know. We'll have some stills that we can look at. We can compare it to the view from the actual landing footage and stuff like that. I think we'll do some analysis because, of course, we're capturing all this for you, and we will certainly feature it in an upcoming Cape update. We need to get in the helicopter and fly over the Cape again and catch some aerial shots to keep y'all informed with what's going on.
We'll definitely zoom in and do some pixel comparisons.
Yeah.
All that stuff to get down to
I
the
mean, I can
nitty-gritty
tell you
details
that
down
my
to-
initial impression
Yep.
is that, yeah, there's some scorching on the side of Jacklyn.
A little bit
It's
of
down low on the bottom there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can sort of see some vertical streaks, I guess. It's not huge soot deposits like you see on Falcon 9. Somebody's got a camera on a gimbal, it looked like, walking around the deck taking pictures or taking video or whatever. But a little bit of vertical streaking down there on the bottom. God, those landing legs are delightfully greebly inside. It almost looks like you could walk under this. That person with the gimbal was recording the person there on the deck, so I wonder if that's like a for scale shot. You saw the camera operator. Oh, look. The pad in the background.
That's a good shot. Like that's where
very
it came
cool.
from. And then it went all the way up to space and came back, and now it's here again.
Oh,
I love how Blue
right.
Origin has little support ships that are like pilot boats. We should
How
see if we
many-
can get Harvey Stone to blow their horn.
How many little escort boats are we seeing out there, Julie? I see the tugs. I see the main towing vessel. I see sort of a braking tug there that's attached to the back, I think. There's some security boats.
We've got 2 Blue Origin support vessels. We've got Harvey Stone. We've got Jacklyn and 2 tugboats, and it looks like the pilot boat trailing behind.
It sounds like somebody might be up there uploading some stuff, Julia. We got a little bit of robot from you there, but we could hear you okay. We'll see if we can't sort that out, chat. There in the background, more parts of Cape Canaveral. Space Force Station. You can see the little scrolling sign with the port information there in the background. You know, Marty, let's talk a little bit about them landing legs. We have such good shots of the landing legs. Did everybody see the not explosive bolts. That's the wrong word. The little flashes from the end of each landing leg when that thing landed. Did you notice that when it landed, Marty?
I did, and I believe they drove some pins down or at the deck to anchor the booster in place. And if I'm not mistaken, from the views we got yesterday, Alex actually spotted that the pins have now been removed. And it seems like they've attached the booster to these orange things that are underneath the booster. Perhaps a bit like the octograbber that SpaceX uses to weigh down the booster and just make sure it stays in place during perhaps slightly choppy seas.
Slap it on the leg there, Jeff. You look, the person in the hat, like the ball cap, the low profile ball cap, in the black jacket walking around, the fact that there's somebody with a gimbal filming that person makes me guess as to the identity of who's walking around their rocket getting filmed looking up at it. Their chat, what do y'all think? I don't know. I don't want to call it because I don't have like an official thing, but I would not be surprised if the guy paying for all this didn't just slap that landing leg on the leg saying this baby can hold so many, I don't know, missions. I'm not sure.
I'm totally with you on that. And if I were Jeff Bezos, I would do exactly the same.
You got it. I don't know. Maybe Dave Limp, maybe Jeff. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he has anywhere better to be this morning. Paul Kelly, that's a good point. Again, I don't know for sure.
There is no better place to be.
There's no better place to be than right next to the landing legs of that absolutely massive rocket returning to port. Sorry, normally we don't really report on the comings and goings of the CEOs, but all of that sort of a view came together, and I was like, you know something? I think that's a thing. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, this thing can fly so many times. Canesel or Canesel. I'm not sure. Kai Nessel maybe is the way to say your name. This baby can fly so many times. You scroll through chat. Let's talk. Yeah, we could talk a little bit more about the landing legs. Could you explain how they welded the landing legs to the deck and why do they choose this method? I saw a patent going around, and I didn't have the time to completely read the details. But if I'm not mistaken, Marty, jump in. It was some sort of pyrotechnic or thermal welding process.
They've actually got multiple patents. So there's an older patent for a pyrotechnic pin or something. That's just like a large pin, and they shoot off an explosive to drive that thing down. But then there is, I believe, a much more recent patent where they would, have some welding system in the legs itself, a bit like thermites or the same stuff that they use to weld a piece of train track together.
Yeah, the train tracks.
They would set that off and weld the boost to the deck that way.
Yeah, I've seen those videos where they have the two railroad track pieces together, and they put the little box around it, and they put like thermite on the top to melt the train tracks together. I don't know that that's what they used here, because we saw that really quick flash. It wasn't a long process. It was a really quick flash. So if I had to guess, not knowing the answer, I'd say that this was the explosive-driven pin that secured that rocket to the deck. And then we saw underneath the rocket, when the drone was up just a second ago, the red, I think they were red, sort of clamps that were put around the base to secure it. But that instantaneous, rocket lands, then pap, 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 those little explosive charges go off and immediately sort of tentatively connect it to the deck until they can more permanently attach it down, Yeah,
I agree with that. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Like we've seen some Falcon 9 landings where they couldn't anchor it down in time, and then the boosters like scooted all the way over the deck in slightly choppy seas. So I can imagine Blue Origin engineers looking at that, being like, "We don't want this. So is there anything we can do to anchor the booster down before we can get anyone onto the deck to do it manually?"
Yep, you got it. And there in the background, am I mistaken? No. Are those two Falcon 9s vertical in the background of this shot? And then Jacklyn's approaching where SpaceX offloads those things. I can't wait.
It looks like it.
To get the perspective.
2 Falcon 9s on the right from our perspective, and then a couple of cranes.
Yeah, you got it.
But
all right, I think
Oh.
the folks we've got out at Jetty are going to relocate. What's the plan out there, Julia?
I was just going to say, how about this? I'm going to sit in my vehicle for just a minute. I'm going to go off comms, upload some kind of closer up pictures so that y'all can see those in stream. And then I'm going to go with the rest of the team and relocate so we can see docking. But until then, we've got our bots that can cover those views.
Excellent. Sounds good. And Jerry's got the drone up as well. Especially important now, folks. Today we've got these drone views. They're not something that can normally happen because we got prior written approval from the Canaveral Port Authority. We worked with the port. Big thanks to the port for letting us do this. But we have specific written permission from the port today to have this drone up here in port airspace. Normally, this is restricted airspace. You don't just get to run out there and send your drone up and take some shots. There is too much traffic for that to be a safe thing to do on a regular basis. But Jerry Pike, professional licensed drone operator, an awful lot of experience out there today flying this drone, watching the Falcon 9s come back in, getting the cruise ships and that sort of stuff. Again, this is not a normal thing. Massive thanks to Port Canaveral, the Canaveral Port Authority there, for working with us and granting us this specific permission to fly this drone in the port today. If you see this on social media and you see, oh yeah, they're being unsafe, they're flying a drone, they're not supposed to do that. Again, we are not doing this without permission. We have specific intentional written permission from the Port Authority to do this today. I'm going to say that a couple times because somebody's going to run out there, well, NSF did it, so I can fly my drone. That's not fair. We took specific steps to make sure that we could do this safely and follow all of the safe procedures to get y'all this view today. Massive thanks for Jerry for making that happen. Let's see. Marty, talk for just a second. I need to click on one thing here for me. If you could count the number of Starlinks on the deck or something.
yeah, well, it's actually quite interesting that Blue Origin is using Starlink here because, of course, Amazon is working on its own Starlink alternative. It used to be called Kuiper, but I believe they recently renamed it to Leo and something else.
Amazon Leo, I think.
It's a rename, so we have to get used to it for a bit, but it used to be Kuiper. But of course, they've just started launching the satellites, and there are less than 200 satellites up in space right now, I believe. So it will take a while for the constellation to grow to a point where they can use it for reliable connection. So for now, they're using Starlink on Jacklyn for the amazing views that we saw during the booster landing.
I think it's tough. I know people sort of see the SpaceX drone ships, and you can see those Starlink terminals on the SpaceX drone ships. And you look at this, and you're like, well, I don't see any Starlink terminals on it. They're on the railing. You see on the right-hand side of your screen there, those vertical flat panels on the railing. There's a big golf ball dome on the right. There's a little dome in the corner of the railing. And along that railing, if I'm not mistaken, they look tiny. Not because the Starlink terminals are tiny, but because this vessel is so huge. Yeah, there you go. Look.
You can see them quite well there. Yeah.
Drone enhanced.
That's 4. So those are the Starlink terminals, which probably were part of the infrastructure getting us the views upon landing.
Yep. That's the thing. You don't know how big this building on the back of the ship is, but if you look at the stairs, there's some stairs, that sort of yellow stairs that come down the side of this thing. The stairs go up 3 levels. I think the stairs go up 2 levels, and there's a 3rd level on the roof above that. But this is not a small vessel. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's 2-story. It was a 1-story, 2 stories. That's a 3rd story, and then the roof of that thing. This is not a small vessel, is it, Marty?
It definitely isn't. And the booster isn't small either. That thing is gigantic.
Yeah.
I always love to like go into Google Maps or another mapping service and just like measure out the sizes of these rockets, because then it's so hard to get a proper sense of the scale when you're just looking at these images, because everything is yeah, we don't have things to compare it with. Like, I've never seen a barge like that, so I don't know how big that thing is,
Yeah.
and I don't know how big the booster is in comparison.
God. Even just it's tough. The little ants running around on deck. You see the tiny people down there.
Yeah.
What a cool thing. I was going to say, what a time to be alive, like to have this sort of thing coming back into port. I know we've seen Falcon 9s. Falcon 9s are old hat. It's like, oh yeah, Falcon 9's coming in. I really want to see this thing next to the Falcon 9 so people can, I just don't think that people grasp the scale difference, like how big this thing is versus how big the Falcon 9s are. We will see.
It is quite a big difference, yeah? Like the Falcon 9 itself is like nearly 70 meters tall. When it stands on the pad with the boosters, the booster second stage and the fairing on top. But New Glenn fully stacked is nearly 100. And if we look at just the boosters, like Falcon 9 is 3.7 meters in diameter, if I'm not mistaken. And the first stage is just above 40 meters, 41 meters tall. And this one is 15, 16 meters taller at 75.5 meters. Sorry, 57.5. I'm turning around things here. And it's also a lot wider. It's nearly 2 times as wide as Falcon 9 at diameter of 7 meters. And then there's all these fins and strakes and things that Blue Origin attaches to it. So it looks even wider still.
Yeah, even you can even like compare and contrast. Starship Super Heavy, the booster for Starship, is much bigger than this, right? But look at the strakes, chines. I know people argue about what they are on the bottom. Look at how much these stick off. Like it almost looks like a plane. Not really. You know what I mean, though. They stick off a lot more than the chines on the Super Heavy. Is my point.
They do, and I believe they're a big part in the booster's efficiency upon return, and they might even help loft the booster a bit on the flight up. They're so big.
Yeah, they really are. And then you can see the movable control surfaces. Instead of a grid fin sort of setup, they're on the top of the rocket. You've got those, I guess technically are those canards. Well, when the rocket's flying up, they're in the front of the rocket. When the rocket's flying down, they're sort of like tail fins, I guess, because it's going backwards on the way down. I don't know what you want to call those.
I don't know. I don't know either. Like I'm not too familiar with all these terms in avionics in aviation. Sorry.
All good.
But I do know that these are like the size of a car or something. These are absolutely huge, and they're just attached to the side of this thing.
Yep, I saw that graphic. I think Blue Origin put out a graphic where they compared the size of the fins to a car. And I saw somebody on X say, anything other than the metric system, it's like they'll measure it in cars, but they won't tell you how many meters it is. I think mostly joking there. Hey, folks, let me say this real quick. I see a lot of chat. There is a big internet outage happening today. X has been sort of up and down, not available, not loading posts. That's what I woke up to. I woke up and I'm like, let me refresh X and see if the booster's coming in, and X wasn't working. It said it couldn't load the post. So if you actually want the freshest news, here on the channel is the place to be. But X, when it works, isn't bad too. And also, I think the website, a lot of websites are having trouble right now. So I see some people talking about that in chat. That is a Cloudflare thing, if I'm not mistaken. But I do see a lot of chat. Figured I'd mention that real quick. You know what site is working, though? Our shop. We've got a merch store for space nerds where you can help support what we do. You like how I set that up? That was a big setup, wasn't it? We've got one of the ways that we help pay the bills around here is we make merch for space nerds. This season, we've got an entire set of 8-bit knitted holiday sweaters. These are like actually knitted. It's not like a cheap print on it. It's like different color threads knitted together to make these designs. And we don't have a New Glenn one. this year. I think if New Glenn flies enough in 2026, we might need a New Glenn design, but we've got Starship designs, we've got Falcon designs, we've got some older ones with Raptor engines and that sort of stuff on it. We have a lot of different ways that you can show off what a space nerd you are, and help us out as well. Like, we're renting helicopters. Jerry's got drones up. We've got cameras. We've got bandwidth and data and everything that we do to bring y'all this. Why are we showing the booster pants this early in the morning? Have you ever wanted pajama pants that had a picture of TPS tile or a Starship booster on it? Boy, do we have a deal for you. These are actual pajama pants made from a photo of a super heavy booster. I'm not sorry. We were cracking up when we put that product out. We got like a drink glass there with some Starbase etching on it. We've got TPS pants. We've got a tree skirt that looks like TPS tiles for your Christmas tree. Of course, we bring you only the finest space nerd merch. You
It's
love
fun,
it,
and
chat.
I love it.
Yeah, come on. Did you get you some of those booster pants, Marty?
I never thought I would be interested in wearing something like that, but I'm looking at them and it looks kind of fun. I might try them. Or
Derek,
perhaps the TPS ones. Those look amazing too.
So a lot of these, like, before we put products in the shop, we get like a demo of the product, right? And so I had the first demo of the TPS pants, and I was wearing them around the house. Like, I have them on. They're super soft and stretchy. They're not like a flannel sort of thing. They're like a super stretch material. I think if you shine a flashlight, you could actually see a flashlight through them. But they're super comfortable pants. They do run a little large. I was surprised. As I get older, I am not used to my medium-sized pants being loose. I feel like my medium-sized pants feel tighter these days, but these did run a little bit big on me, so the medium for me was a little loose, but not so much that they fell off while I was walking around the house. Luckily, we don't stream that. So in any event, folks, if you want to support what we do, if you get it from the shop, you can actually leave us a little message to read. There's an option because we're live right now, but we really do appreciate the support. Not to make the stream all about, oh, well, it's just about merch plugs or anything like that. But without that and without y'all showing up to the stream and doing super chats and like and subscribe or whatever, we wouldn't be able to bring y'all all of this coverage of all the cool things happening in spaceflight. So we appreciate y'all's support. Let's see here. I know that we are still relocating cameras. I think our operator might be relocating as well, but we are rapidly approaching Rusty's in the port here. I believe this camera is from our fleet cam over there at Rusty's. And big thanks to Rusty's for letting us put those cameras out, because these are the cameras we're going to watch the offload process for this. Marty, think that's going to be an interesting thing to see here at Port Canaveral?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've seen SpaceX do it over and over, but for Blue Origin, this is the very first time. And now we've seen them rehearse with like simulators of parts of the rocket, but we haven't seen them go through the entire process, and definitely not with a flight-proven booster. So it will be interesting to see what they do, and I'm also curious to see over the next couple of years how they change the process, perhaps speed it up or learn from mistakes. Let's hope there aren't too many mistakes, but yeah, I'm willing to bet that they will be making changes in the next couple of years, because they just learn from what they've been doing, and
I think
I'm looking forward to that.
That's one thing we're going to see here. Like, in order to get that experience, you have to do what SpaceX does. You have to get that flight cadence up. It's all good to have a rocket that launches once every 3 years, but you're not going to have a lot of data to tune your processes in if you do that. So now that Blue Origin has proven that they can successfully land a massive orbital class booster on their drone ship here, they need to do that again. And they need to do it again and again and again and again and again. And we want to see that cadence getting up. And then we'll see the rocket systems get tuned in. I bet you we start to see that landing get dialed in a little bit. Can you hover? Yeah, absolutely. We saw that thing hover over just like New Shepard. All of their sort of GNC algorithms and control systems and experience they have from flying the little suborbital rocket, they apparently leveraged for this because we saw a hover across the deck, but that's not the most efficient way to do it. So as they sort of dial this in, as they build up confidence because they're launching more and more of these rockets, we hope to see that dialed in. And the less you hover, the more your payload capacity is going to increase because you don't have to save that fuel for the landing. You can use that fuel to put mass into orbit. So I think we'll see that sort of get dialed in here as we hopefully see more and more boosters fly. Same thing with the port
will.
return. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff Bezos already said on social media, on X, I believe, that they targeted like a few hundred feet away from the ship, and they will dial that back as they go through flight experience and multiple flights. And so at some point they might just hover just outside of the ship, or maybe even just like target the ship directly, like SpaceX does.
Yep. I really do think that we'll see that dialed in as they do it. So I think it made a lot of sense, especially since they had that capability, that hover capability. Why not use it if you can do it? The massive rocket did it, like no problem. It looked like. So I don't fault them for doing that off the side of the drone ship target, and then the hover translate over, and then the soft touchdown directly in the middle of the barge. It is absolutely crazy how close to the center of the barge this thing is.
And they can do it, so they kind of have to. I feel
Yep.
Falcon 9 cannot hover like that because the center engine is just too powerful. So if it tries to hover, it will go back up.
It'll do a Kerbal moon landing thing where you start to land on the moon, but you have too much throttle and you take off again. Yeah.
But when you have the capability, you might as well use it to dial in your landings. So
Yep, I completely agree. I think the team out there at the port has relocated now. Julia, do we have you back on comms?
Indeed, you do, Das. I made it here just in time to get a view of. Y'all, this is a very massive booster next to what you're going to see with the Falcon 9s. Like, my God.
This is our original fleet cam shot here. Go ahead, Julia.
Just, I can't even describe, like, it looks like two Falcon 9s together would be the width of this. It's just crazy.
Then you have the whole area of a circle. Oh, here. Look, the drone is up. As the drone sort of orbits around here, in the background, are we going to get the Falcon 9s? Let's see. They should be just past the crane. There's the Falcon 9s in the background.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Look how dirty the Falcon 9s are compared to the methane-powered New Glenn.
Yeah, it's quite a difference. You can see how clean that propellant is in comparison to the RP1 rocket grade kerosene.
Oh my gosh. Look at this. Y'all, this is cool. You know, I didn't know. I hope we'd see this one day. I know it's sort of an unpopular opinion.
Yep.
Go ahead, Julia.
I was going to say, Das, this is something we dreamed of back when we first started following boosters and how this all happens. And this is a moment I wasn't thinking, honestly, we'd see anytime soon. And here we are. Like,
Look at this.
kind of like launch. I don't have very many words right now. I'm sorry.
No, Julia, I'm sitting here just kind of chuckling to myself a little bit because this absolutely massive rocket. Oh, here's the fleet cam shot. I think with the Falcon 9s in the background.
Let's put it this way. It just now got in a view that my camera can fit all three.
It doesn't fit in fleet cam right now. Like the top of the New Glenn booster is off the top of the framing, and then the two Falcon 9s in the background there. This is just nuts.
It's going to be an extra wide selfie, I think. Oh my.
Go ahead,
The
Marty.
future of spaceflight. Like,
yeah,
we've got Falcon 9 and New Glenn now, but hopefully in just a few years we will see Neutron coming into Wallops, and Stoke perhaps with their Nova rocket.
Yep.
And Relativity. So we're going to see so many of these, hopefully.
We're gonna
the craziest booster selfie I've ever taken.
You got like a 3-for-1, like 3 boosters in one selfie, Julia?
Yeah. Like, give me 1 second and it'll be even crazier. Yeah.
Folks, real quick, over in the super chats, Russell Snodgrass with $100 super chat. Russell, we see your name over and over again. Y'all, Russell is one of the reasons that we can keep doing what we're doing, because Russell's always there supporting what we do. With a question here, actually, how many reflights do you think this booster will make? Maybe 2 in 2026? Thanks for the awesome coverage. Marty, what do you think? Do we get a reflight in 2026 of this specific booster? Do we get more than one reflight?
I hope so. Like, but it kind of depends on what Blue finds when they analyze this booster. Like, look at it up close. But
Yep.
I hope that it's in a good enough state that they are confident to refly it on an upcoming mission, perhaps not too far in the future.
I
So
agree.
that would be amazing.
Yep. There's one way to find out. We'll be here. Oh, look, there's the SpaceX drone ship in the background. See the drone shot there? And you can see which is that's Of Course I Still Love You. Gosh, I can't Go ahead, Julia.
Folks on the deck waving and posing. It's kind of amusing right now.
Julia, which SpaceX drone ship is in port right now? I apologize.
I believe that's just read the she's the old girl. Just read the instructions.
The other one's on Of Course I Still Love You, ended up on the West Coast. And I'm like, I don't think that's ASOG, but it looks so dark colored. Maybe my confusion is the gleaming bright Blue Origin recovery vessel in the foreground and the well-loved Falcon 9 drone ship in the background. Yeah, well-loved.
Yeah. She hasn't had an upgrade outside of the thrusters, obviously.
Yeah.
Or like a container ship, and that's okay. We still love her.
Look at this, the 2 Falcon 9s in the background, the SpaceX drone ship, the SpaceX fairing recovery ship there, and the Blue Origin drone ship with the New Glenn on it in the foreground.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive. Thank you. You're right. Y'all are right. There's ASOG is out for the launch this evening to catch a Starlink, I think. Thanks for the help, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm like agog over the size of this Blue Origin booster coming back in.
But I believe the drone ships aren't too dissimilar in size, aren't they?
I don't know. I guess
Jacklyn is slightly bigger, but
yeah,
not by that much.
Jacklyn has a lot more superstructure to it. I guess the buildings on Jacklyn are a lot bigger.
Absolutely.
Right, and it has superstructure because of that LNG fuel off.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can pull up the information real quick. And Marty, if you want to keep chatting here, let me see what I can find.
So, now I need something to chat about, of course.
you look at the video and you talk.
Yeah. So it's still out there in the turning basin, and so what are they going to do? Are they just going to push it over towards the dock at some point, or will they turn it around? Do we happen to know
the way
anything
it's
about
going right now, there's a chance it'll turn around, and that's not uncommon. SpaceX usually does that so that they can get the booster a little bit closer to the dock. In this case, well, they landed center. So unless there's an operational reason to have perhaps one of the tank buildings facing either east or west, we could just be lining it up to push it to the dock.
I feel like from our perspective, it's just ever so slightly off to the right. Like it's pretty much center, but just ever so slightly.
I mean, I personally would love if they turned it so we could get a perspective of what the other side of the drone ship looks like for scorching, but that's a wish, not a need.
We've got some cool shots here from Jerry, sort of showing both of the sides of the drone ship. There, it looks like. Are those?
Oh, I love that. You can see the booster in between the structure of the buildings on deck.
I did get the stats really quick. I just had to go over to spaceoffshore.com. Our friend Gav keeps track of all the different rocket recovery fleets and vessels and stuff like that. And over there, Gav had the vital statistics for the 2 recovery vessels. The SpaceX vessels are about 150 feet wide, 46 meters wide, and 90 meters long, or 290 feet wide. And the Blue Origin drone ship here, it's the same width. It's also 46 meters, 150 feet wide, so about a half of an American football field. But Blue Origin's vessel is almost 100 feet longer. You got 90 meters versus 116 meters. That's 290 feet long for the SpaceX drone ship there, and 380 feet long for Blue Origin's Jacklyn. So same width, a whole lot longer. I mean, it's almost 50% longer. Somebody else can do the math on that for me. It's too early in the morning to do the math. But it is a longer vessel, about the same width. And Marty, like you were talking about the size of the rockets earlier, New Glenn about twice as wide in diameter, as opposed to twice as wide in height. That doesn't make any sense. Of course, it's wide in diameter. Roughly?
Yeah, compared to Falcon 9, New Glenn has another third on top of it.
Another third. Thank you.
But it's just under twice as wide. But of course, if you add all the strakes, chines, whatever are attached to New Glenn, then it looks a lot wider than Falcon 9.
Gotcha.
But it's quite funny because even though this booster is so much bigger, it stuns like how wide the legs are when they are in their landing configuration. Like now, it isn't too different from Falcon 9. I believe it might have even be a bit narrower, but that's just because they have a different number of legs, so they can be shorter.
Yeah, the 6 legs there on the New Glenn versus the 4 legs on the Falcon 9. Real quick, shout out to some of the folks over there. Apparently quite the crowd has gathered at the port. All sorts of folks watching. We've got some shots in the back channel here for our production team, showing some viewers watching this stream with the drone shots while the actual booster is in real life out at the port. So Sue and company out there, if you're watching, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and thanks for meeting up and getting a patch. I think Sue got a patch from Julia. There's only like 1 patch left, I think. That's the trick. If you see an NSF person out in the wild doing our thing, we should have little NSF patches with us. And if you ask, we don't just offer them to everybody that we meet, but if you ask for a patch, we generally have, a patch to hand out if you find us in the wild. Thanks for hanging out with us, though, Sue. Oh, wow. Now this is, I think, where it's going to start to get interesting. We have sort of the low to the ground views here. We'll have 2 fleet cams there 24/7. I think the drone is still, every now and then we're bringing the drone back and changing batteries and stuff like that. I don't think we're done with that, but I'm super curious to see what we're going to get next. Looks like we've sort of slowed down here. Julia, what part of the port is this called?
Well, we are in the basically the West Basin, Middle Basin. No, not Middle Basin. Well, let's just put it this way: we are at the cargo docks, is where we are.
Okay.
So Cargo Pier 5 is where SpaceX is, and that's essentially where Blue Origin also docks. Occasionally, when the port is super busy, actually, you will see these docks used for cruise ships, and they will shuttle them over to the various terminals. But look for that coming this winter. It's already busy with 6 cruise ship days, and looking around, this is a 0 cruise ship day, and that could be partly why they put off bringing this particular drone ship in for the first time until today.
Gotcha. You know, somebody in chat just pointed out something that I hadn't mentioned or I hadn't noticed before, but the orientation of the vessel. Has anybody else noticed that the rocket and the logo are like right in line with the vessel?
They
Like the
are.
We like to
landing
say
legs are
don't
even.
do things for photographers and schedule launches around crowds, but sometimes I think there's some things that are intentional.
Like
Um,
the
That's
the
exactly how this rocket lands, just like SpaceX. They orientate the same way on the drone ship each time.
the raceway is towards, I guess, here the left hand side, the front of the vessel. The two fins are even side to side on the vessel. Like the logo is backwards. I haven't gone and verified this. Like, is there any possibility they turned this thing at sea? I don't think that happened, but I almost want to go back to the video footage. It's almost too perfectly aligned. Like, go back to the landing video footage and see if this is the orientation it landed in. It's almost a little hard to believe,
I feel like this is exactly how it landed.
I want to believe. I
Yeah.
just don't want to verify that. I don't want to say like, look, it landed exactly this way. It's like hard for me to. Well,
There we
speaking
can see.
of, we have the ability to show the landing footage again. Let's
But
watch
we know
this thing.
we know that rockets can land that precisely because SpaceX
Mhm.
has done it, and they have to with super heavy because otherwise the catch pins won't align.
Yep.
So I assume that Blue Origin can do the same. And from the looks of it, well, we'll see in the footage. But
Actually,
I
watching. I want to
expect that
see.
this is exactly how it landed. Where's Jacklyn?
Where's Jacklyn?
Oh.
Where's Jacklyn?
So we are lined up for a spin, as Gavin said in our back channel. Look at that.
Cool. So that
There's
means we'll
the
get
legs.
to see the other side as well.
Oh, there was definitely the feather. Look at this. The feather in the landing circle that you
Ooh, yeah.
don't see hardly at all anymore.
Well, that's what happens when you blast the deck of your ship with fire. Just
Okay.
stripping off all the paint.
There's the touchdown with all of the camera debris getting on the front cover of the camera there. I say the front cover, I don't think it's a lens. I think it's like a blast cover, like a big blast glass in front of the camera. But I sort of see the
Nice
outline
up.
of the strakes from the camera position. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly how it touched down.
what, did they repaint the
I
blue?
think that's just ice.
That is
I
just
think-
ice. Yeah,
I think it's just
yeah.
ice from the cryogenic liquid oxygen that's in that tank on the other side of the tank wall, just as we
That-
see when it fuels up.
That makes sense. The reason you sort of saw the difference there isn't because I guess maybe they went out and touched that up. It just might have been ice that you were seeing on the bottom of the thing. Oh, there with the explosive bolts or the
Ooh, yeah.
explosive harpoons, pins, whatever you want to call it.
So that secured the rocket to the deck at first, and I believe that based on the pictures we saw yesterday, we think that they took out the pins and installed some structures underneath the booster to hold it down instead.
Yeah, you can see them there, the red, for lack of a better term, like jacks or something.
Yeah.
It looks like they've got some sort of jack stands or securement methods or whatever you want to say. They're connecting the rocket to the deck. Hey, shout out to Harvey Stone real quick. The ship that dragged it back in, I guess, huh?
And dragged the ship out at first.
Yep.
I believe that Harvey Stone has been accompanying Jacklyn for
Those
all
are
its trips out.
definitely the offshore courses of spaceflight because I think we've come to the conclusion that autonomy is for landing zones and not for the entire journey.
Yeah, the station keeping thrusters that sort of keep the drone ships in position. Great for station keeping, not great for long distance journeys, right, Julia?
Exactly. It's just more efficient and faster. Less wear on your thrusters. If you just let a tug bring you out, tugs are great at that.
Yep, the big, massive workhorse. Like, look at that thing.
And these station keeping thrusters are incredibly powerful.
Yep.
I don't know specifically about Jacklyn, But in a recent update from Rocket Lab, who is also working on a recovery ship, they said that the generators for the thrusters on deck or on the ship, they actually generate about 2.5 times the power that the whole launch complex need. So that's quite a stark contrast between the station keeping of the landing ship and the launch pad.
Yep. Good times. I'm just taking it in for a second, y'all. I guess maybe we should
Right?
change the lower third to say now we know the odds, or now you can tell me the odds or whatever. I feel like they're more confident in knowing the odds now.
I think it turned out to be 100%.
Yeah, once it's on the deck, you can update your odds estimate to 100%. It's like, yep, it's happened now.
Yeah.
It's a thing in the past. I'm curious. Remember, the original design for Blue Origin was the entire ship, right? The rocket wasn't supposed to
Yeah.
land on a barge. The rocket was supposed to land on a massive ship that was, I don't know, shaped like an actual ship, right?
It was,
And
yeah.
they changed that idea. Let's talk about that a little bit, Marty. Like that's
Yeah, their original idea was to, I believe they bought an old ferry and tried to turn it into a rocket landing spaceport ship or whatever you want to call it. And the original concept was, if I recall from the animations we saw, was that the ship was actually moving in a certain direction, and the booster had to match that movement and land exactly on the ship. They scrapped that idea and went for the tried and tested drone ship approach. Like based on the movement, I think that sounds really hard to land on a moving target. So I can understand that decision, but it would have been crazy to see that original concept come into reality.
like while underway, like more of an aircraft carrier sort of thing versus a drone ship that's sort
Yeah.
of station keeping. Like the ship moving, the rocket landing on the moving ship. That would have been a little nuts, honestly.
And if I recall
And
correctly, they
let's
actually
talk about. Well, I was going to say, let's talk about the logistics of having someone on a ship with a rocket coming back in, and how the Coast Guard might feel about that.
Yeah.
Don't want to
I
be too
mean,
close to that.
autonomy is a thing, but I think there's a certain extent where safety needs to come first.
Especially for these first landings when you don't really know what might happen.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
to
would
be
feel,
fair, I really think it was just so super expensive to try and convert a roll-on, roll-off ship.
yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I wonder, and I don't know, maybe more expensive to operate as well. I don't know if that's what they're initially optimizing for, but we did see that came into the Port of Brownsville, didn't it? That was scrapped in the Port of Brownsville, if I remember correctly.
I believe
I
so.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. I do see a question from Flipper here with a super chat, 100 SEK SEK. But how are the landing ships designed? How deep are the keel, the ballast distribution? If I'm not mistaken, I don't think this is going to have a keel like a ship. I think this is flat bottomed or mostly flat bottomed. You know, I don't know the answer to that specifically, but I don't have handy access to like the draught, like how deep it goes underwater and the tonnage of it and that sort of stuff. Good questions. I had to bring that up from marine traffic or something like that. But wondering if the tall bolted on booster would attenuate wave motion. I mean, it's connected to the deck via a couple mechanisms. Marty, do you think there's specific challenges to the waves keeping this booster upright with the waves?
There must be. We've seen SpaceX Falcon 9 boosters coming into port like all slanted because they got moved around too much. So I also think that is one of the reasons why Blue Origin invented this method of attaching the booster to the deck of the ship, just so they could keep it in place a bit more. But yeah, it has to be a challenge, and landing weather and landing weather in the recovery zone sometimes is part of the go no go poll for these launches.
Yeah, that is true. Like once we started landing rocket boosters, it wasn't just the launch pad weather. It almost came down to like crew type requirements. When you launch a crew, not only does the launch pad need to be clear, but your abort zones need to be clear. If something happens during liftoff and the capsule needs to abort off the top of the rocket, where that capsule would land for certain parts of the launch trajectory have to have good weather as well. You don't want to have beautiful weather at the port and then launch and abort your astronauts into a thunderstorm. Right. So here with the rockets, we started to run into that same sort of requirement. It's not just the launch pad weather that has to be okay, but also the recovery zone weather where the rocket will be landing. So
Exactly.
Right. And something I learned from captains is the most important thing is to keep your vessel pointed bow to stern when you have bad weather.
right,
Because if you go any other way, that's when that idea of oscillation. Yeah. Oh, the more you rock back and forth, the more you're likely to dump the load. Let's just put
right.
it that way.
Yeah, and you have sort of the long axis of the ship there, right, forward to aft, and then you have the side to side motion. And if you point, I guess, into the waves on the long end, you're not going to rock as much as if the waves are hitting you from the side, right?
Right, right.
All right. Okay, folks, we may have to get a battery for the drone here, but look at this. We've got a print from Max's helicopter journey this morning. We got the first helicopter flight of the day from the tour helicopter operator there in the port, and Max went up to get these shots of the first return, high quality pictures, so that we could actually make some prints of them. Prints are another cool way to support what we do. So if you grab one of these to put on your wall, maybe you're a Blue Origin person who worked on this accomplishment, you want to put this up. We have both the metal prints, the aluminum prints there that are sort of like printed on a really nice foam core metal, and we also have paper prints, like paper posters that roll up in a tube and are easier to ship. We used to just do the aluminum prints, and then so many people were like, wow, I like those, but they're a little expensive. We decided to put the paper prints in there as well, so that if you want this on your wall but don't quite have the desire for the full metal print, you can get a paper poster and, I don't know, take it down to like the arts and crafts store or something and put it in a poster frame. Those are pretty easy to find, right? But if you want to support what we do, this not only helps us pay for things like the helicopters and boat charters and that sort of stuff, it also, part of the proceeds go to the photographer who took the shots. So that first shot was from Max. This shot here, this is from yesterday. This is from Jerry yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is the shot from yesterday that we got on the charter vessel out there. It was still 17-ish miles offshore, and they took about 45 minutes an hour to ride that boat. The boat was much smaller than I anticipated when I saw pictures of it, but they rode 17 miles offshore. Jerry sent up the drone. Dee was taking some footage from the deck of the boat, and Max taking some fantastic stills. But again, in order to capture this stuff, even like the launch shots, look at the rocket going past the lighthouse there, and the mock diamond prints, all the different prints that we have. It's another great way to support what we do and get some cool rocket artwork for your wall. So if you pick one of those up, thank you so much for the support. Oh, look at this. It's starting to do the rocket pirouette there in the basin. You can see the tugs pushing on one side of it, pulling on the other side of it, maybe slowing it down.
So now we should be able to compare how this side has fared, because we thought it was slightly asymmetrical. We could see where it came onto the deck, but it would be interesting to see this side of the ship in a bit more detail.
Julia, at this point, would the main tug have disconnected? You would think so, because
they should be off chain now.
Yep,
I would sure hope.
On the left-hand side, Harvey Stone is not sort of following this motion. It just looks like it's over on the left. And then the two port tugs there are sort of pushing one end of this around. And Julia, there's a reason the two tugs are on the same side, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say one for safety, one for pushing. We want to make sure that these assets don't somehow go a little bit wayward and damage docks, damage other drone ships, So we have safety in numbers.
Yep. And I think when we get most of the way turned around, both of those tugs will start pushing and we'll sort of push it up to the dock, leaving one side of the drone ship clear to get up close to the dock, and the other side, the two tugs sort of pushing it into position. I think we've seen similar things with the SpaceX in the past.
Yeah. Oh, hey, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? There looks to be a decent. Oh, maybe that's never mind. I was going to
Yeah,
say a bit of a scorch mark, but that was sun. I would say the side that came into port would be the side that got scraped by the flame.
Yeah, look at the reflection of the rocket there in the waters of the port, I think are the words that I was trying to string together unsuccessfully. Home Planet 365. If the rocket company fails, they have a floating soccer field. I want to paint. You know how they do with the International Space Station? And they put the International Space Station on the usually American football field during the Super Bowl or whatever. Like I want to see the International Space Station overlaid on the landing vessel. That would be an interesting graphic to see. Or maybe like paint the lines of a European football. Look, I have to say it that way. Paint the lines of a football field, whatever flavor you like, on the deck there, just to show it for scale.
I've got some numbers if you want to compare this ship to the International Space Station.
I'm down. Go for it.
So the length of the station is 109 meters overall. So that is just like 10 meters or so shorter than Jacklyn. But if you look at the width, the station is 73 meters wide. And Jacklyn was, if I recall the numbers you just pulled up, Das, Jacklyn is 46. So it is roughly the same length, but quite a bit wider, the station that is.
Gotcha. I'd love to see that graphic. We should make that graphic for a future stream. And of course, I'm getting corrected in the background that it's a football pitch. It's a real football pitch. I don't know why you would bring baseball into this, Jay. What do you mean pitch? That's a thing that you do from the pitcher's mound in baseball. Seriously. I grew up in Texas, all right? I measure things in football fields in quarter miles. Like, I don't know about all these meters and stuff. I can Google them, though. Let's see.
So you know what, Das?
Go ahead, Julia.
I know you all have seen these images from the air and what I'm just now seeing on the ground, but it's interesting to see that really the only, shall we say, damage, which in my mind, from what I can see now, is really just paint loss is around that fin.
No
That's
kidding.
facing our cameras right now. That's it. The rest of this just looks like, hey, I went to space, but all of my white is very white. My kind of inner stage is, well, it looks checkered.
Yeah.
And that would be almost the only proof I have to you that this booster went to space.
Wow. It
Yeah.
really is just such a difference. Julia, another thing on Starship, super heavy, right? We get that patina on the stainless steel. You get that discoloration on the stainless steel. And here we don't really see that. Like, we don't get that same, you don't have the shiny stainless steel. You have some white painted area, then you have sort of the raw copper-esque looking areas on the bottom. I wonder if that's another thing we're not seeing. We just don't get that heat glow, the heat discoloration, you know?
Right. Different materials, different paints and coatings. Coatings, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. Different coatings are just leading to different, impacts from its journey to space and back. It's interesting to see.
Yep.
We like variety. We like variety here.
I like it. It's interesting. Somebody was pointing out in chat that the official name of the vessel is Landing Platform Vessel 1. Like, that's what the registration is apparently under. Is that right? It's not called Jacklyn. They just have Jacklyn painted on the side like a
It's
billboard.
LPV1
LPV1.
on marine traffic. Yep.
Huh. All right.
Crazy. I know.
Hey, we got a couple bits of support. I'll say thank you to real quick. Joyce Lynn, I see that name in the comments of our videos all the time. Joyce, every now and then I say hi to you. It's just one of those names that I see popping up all the time with a $10 super sticker, I guess. This is a super chat. It's a super sticker. Joyce, always a pleasure to see you around the streams and videos. We also got a question from Crafty Geek here saying, I'm curious, how long of a flight time does Jerry's drone have? We get occasional stats on the stationary cameras. Can we nerd out about the mobile tech? Crafty Geek, I'll say that one out loud, and I will see if I get an answer from Jerry in the back channel. I think it's longer than expected because we are getting some good drone coverage time here, but we do have one drone. We're not leapfrogging, like one drone comes out, then the other drone goes out while the other one comes back. It's just one drone, so I think we are changing batteries here. I'll see if I can get an answer for that on you. And then also, one more from the shop. We've got an anonymous message, no name on it, but it says, love this shot. I'll be hanging it on my wall, a Blue Origin person. Let's see if I can't display that up on the top. Yeah, there you go. The
That's
Never
cool.
Tell Me the Odds homecoming drone shot of Jacklyn and the booster coming back into Port Canaveral for the first time ever. Enjoy it on your wall, Blue Origin person. Also, if you want to, we love to see pictures of it. We don't release them, but if you just want to send it to us, you can email it to us at business@nasaspaceflight.com. And if you say, hey, just for y'all, whoa, was cool. Here's what this looks like. We love to see pictures of the artwork ending up on the walls and stuff. Like that sort of thing is very cool. So thank you so much for grabbing one of those. Hope that all of your is a reminder how all your hard work pays off when you make something like this possible. And from the entire spaceflight community, thank you for the work y'all have done to make this a thing that we get to see here today. Also, I think the icons in our backend interface are hosted on Cloudflare. Because the interface is working, but none of the icons are loading.
So, hey, Das.
Yes, Julie.
We're looking back at pictures that we've been taking, and remember how I said there were some antics going on the deck? I do believe Mr. Bezos is on that deck right now, and I'm looking through my photos to see if I have the picture. I'm really hoping
I think maybe that's the folks there. You see sort of the outline of the folks. We've seen a lot of photo opportunities and stuff like that. You know something? If I brought this into the world by enabling teams of people to make this sort of thing happen, I would probably be out there riding this thing in as well.
I'm trying to figure it out. Interesting. Quite possibly.
Yeah, we will see.
I'm going to go off chat for a second, upload this picture, and we can debate whether or not that's who we think it is.
All right, we'll be standing by. Hey, Crafty Geek, got the answer for you. Jerry normally expects about a 30 or 40-minute flight time, depending on the weather conditions, wind, and that sort of stuff. Because, if the drone's having a fight against the wind, it'll take a little bit more. If it's a nice calm day, it doesn't have to use that battery to maintain its station or anything like that. But about 30, 40 minutes, depending on conditions, is the answer to your questions. Yeah, and Yoda, there was a little bit of a paint on the side. You can see it right next on the right-hand side of the fin in this shot. A little bit of maybe paint that came off or just bubbled off a little bit or something like that. I think that's what that looks like. I agree with you.
As long as it's paint and nothing structural underneath, then we should be good.
Yep. One way to find out, this is one of the things, like they get this hardware back. It hasn't been dipped in salt water. It hasn't hit the ocean going some hundreds of miles per hour. Like this rocket hardware came to a soft landing on the barge. And it's like the engineer's dream to be able to go and now look at this rocket, review it, and see exactly how the systems that you designed and made exist in the real world held up to the rigors of launch. Right? So they will be going over this with they're probably not going to comb it like a comb, regardless of the size of the teeth of the comb will not probably be involved, but they'll certainly look at it and see how it looks.
I think they'll try to look at every part of the rocket that they can have a peek at, just to verify that it's what they expect and that it went through its right up and down in within all their margins.
Was that the paint on my primary buffer panel? Did the paint on the primary buffer panel just fall off my ship? Nice. We appreciate you there, Kai. So here we see with the drone views, the two tugs pushing it against the dock. It's going to be right there next to the SpaceX rockets. It's shiny. The bottom of the rocket is like reflecting. This is a little ridiculous, y'all.
I believe that is some fabric-based thermal protection system. They, at first, in the first renderings of the vehicle, they wanted to paint it, but then they decided to not paint it. So that's why it looks like this shiny brown coppery color.
Gotcha. Hey folks, one more time, we have some absolutely fantastic drone shots today. That is because we worked with the Canaveral Port Authority to get specific written permission for these drone operations today. We've got a professional drone pilot, Jerry Pike, has a ton of experience operating his drone around boosters and around the port area, doing things for the cruise ships and that sort of stuff. But we did not just show up with a drone thinking we were going to fly it. Oh, we're just going to get some internet points and we're just going to do this. We worked with the port. Again, massive thanks to the Canaveral Port Authority and the folks over there who worked on this project with us to get this specific permission to fly the drone at the port today. Usually a no-fly zone. You do not take your personal drone out there and think you're just going to fly it willy-nilly wherever you want. It is a restricted area, and we are operating in the restricted area today with written permission from the port to do so. I can't say that enough. It's just super important because you get the numpties out there and the numpties just, I'm just going to go do it. I'm going to post it up and get some internet points. When more and more people try to do things like that and they don't follow the proper procedures, they don't do it in a safe manner, that's how restrictions get put in place. Well, there are restrictions there already, but we are doing this with the port's written permission this morning. So massive thanks again to Canaveral Port Authority for supporting the drone ops. Speaking of, we've got other things on the drone here. It's not the only tube coming into port today. We've got a couple tanks coming in, and if I'm not mistaken, are these tanks bound for Starship operations? Marty, Julia, anybody?
I'm not sure we've got Julia here, but I think so, though I haven't confirmed it. But SpaceX is building a lot of infrastructure for Starship at the Cape right now. They're working on LC-39A to get that ready for Starship flights, and then just a bit down the line, they're also building new pads at Slick 37 or LC-37 over at the Cape. Yep. So they've got to need many more tanks. But on the other hand, they're also not the only ones building launch infrastructure at the Cape. Stoke is working on a launch pad, and Relativity too. So perhaps they could also be for someone else?
I guess we'll find out. Here you go. It's the horizontal tubes going past the vertical tube towards the port. We'll see this. This is going to go through the... oh, look. It says liquid oxygen real big on the side there.
That doesn't help narrow it down, though.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, which rocket uses liquid oxygen? Jeez.
There's one thing I know for sure. These tanks shouldn't fly, but the one in the background should.
We'll see where these come in. I'm getting some information that there is offloading equipment set up over at the turning basin near our Cape camera or our KSC cameras at the press site there. So we'll see if these tanks end up over that way and get offloaded, and then we'll watch where they go. But don't know exactly where they're going right now, but we'll be around to watch and see to figure out where they end up.
We'll see. I'm sure we'll spot them on a flyover at some point, and then we'll know exactly where they've gone.
Yep, that is the thing. We need to get the helicopter back in the air so we can fly around Port Canaveral and the rest of the Cape and see all the work that's happening over at the Blue Origin campus where they're building these rockets, all the test stands that they have spooled up, the SpaceX facilities as they work on the Starship tower. We get a helicopter out there on occasion so we can keep y'all up to date what's going on. All right. So slowly but surely, we're going to approach the dock here. Now, I don't think that we're going to try and stay live for 12 or 20 hours or however long it takes them to offload this. But make sure you do this. If you don't know about our 24/7 stream, we've got 24/7 cameras right here at Port Canaveral's. We partner with Rusty Seafood and Oyster Bar. It's our restaurant there. You could literally sit on the deck of the restaurant and have lunch. They're not serving lunch yet. It's 9 a.m., whatever. And watch them work on these boosters right there at the port. So big thanks to Rusty's. But the salient point here is you can actually go to nsf.live. I'm going to put it in chat for you, nsf.live. And if you go to nsf.live, it shows you our 3 24/7 streams. We've got one out at McGregor, shows McGregor testing. We've got the one here at the Space Coast Live. We've got Starbase Live, right? So here in chat, if you want, bookmark that link, nsf.live, and you can watch the rest of the booster offload process by clicking on the Space Coast thumbnail there and see how the crane operates, how the breakover fixture operates. Oh yeah, there's what it looks like. Apparently the banner at the top is hosted on Cloudflare. The rest of it's working though. But you can click on that and you can get 24/7 views of all of the processing of this booster. And there is look, it's a 4-box right now. You can see all the cameras. You can see the launch pad. You can see Blue Origin in 3 of the other 4 boxes. Actually, you can see Blue Origin in all the boxes right now. It's the last working site on the internet this morning. Nice. Luckily, that linked work. I did check the link before I put it into chat. Bookmark it if it's not working for you. I don't think we're going to sell Florida Tank Watcher merch. if we show that Tank Watcher merch
What a
on
crane watcher.
Yeah,
shirt.
crane
What
watcher.
a crane watchers.
Port Watcher. We had that old Watch the Fleet shirt that I really liked. We need to bring back the Watch the Fleet shirt with an update.
Yeah, we should. I've still got my original one.
In this drone shot, you can actually see the breakover structure sitting
yeah.
on the dock. So that's the structure that they will use to turn the booster from its vertical orientation, which it's in right now, to horizontal, which they will use to transport it from the port back to the hangar or wherever it's going for inspections and refurbishment.
And that massive crane as well, you can tell because of the blue paint on it, right? Like you can see the blue paint on the crane and the breakover fixture and that sort of stuff there. I'm super curious how this is going to work. Like, I guess the crane is going to reach out over the drone ship and pick up the booster and then place the aft end of the booster on the breakover fixture. And then the breakover fixture sort of supports, I guess, the base and rotates 90 degrees as the crane lays it down. There, you see the blue fixture in the background with the circular part on top of it.
It's kind of like a massive swing for a booster.
Yeah, it's like a pivot point, I guess, almost, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When SpaceX does it,
a transporter structure somewhere.
Yeah, it looks like it already has.
I'm not seeing it.
Are those SPMTs underneath it already? I see a bunch of wheel-looking things underneath the breakover fixture. I don't know if you'd need them there already, but you see those?
Oh, that might actually be the transporter or part of it, or
yeah,
I don't know, to be honest.
I guess we will see. I agree. I wonder if that crane is tall enough to do this. I mean, they know the size of the rocket. They know this. I wonder if they're going to have to like pump ballast into the drone ship to lower it down a little bit so it rides a little lower in the water to fit the crane on top. It looks close, y'all.
It would be kind of awkward to find that out now. Just with the booster coming back, oh, the crane is not tall enough.
Certainly they've done the math on that.
They must have. They must have done the measurements and made sure they ordered the right crane off of Amazon.
Look at that. God. The width, I don't know if it's a scale thing, just messing with my perspective, but the width of the Falcon 9 landing legs versus the width of the Blue Origin landing legs. I wonder if that maybe just the main body is wider, and so the Blue Origin legs look smaller, but they're not really a smaller footprint. Like when you see those Falcon 9 landing legs, they look huge compared to the Blue Origin landing legs.
It's all a matter of like scale, because the
Yeah.
Falcon 9 booster is nearly half this size, or at least in diameter it is,
Mm.
and the landing legs on Falcon 9 are actually massive in comparison. So
Yeah.
the proportions are totally different.
They really, it looks to me like the Falcon 9 landing legs go way further up the booster, right? Is that
They
a
do,
rapid reusability feature? Like they can just slam those Falcon 9s into the deck and I don't care, crush the crush cores. The landing legs will be fine. Just bring that thing back in. We got another mission to do. Versus here, we saw the delicate hover. We saw the capability of the new Origin. Oh my gosh, I almost got through the entire stream without saying New Origin or Blue Glen. We saw the control authority that massive rocket had, and maybe it just doesn't need the landing legs to be as crazy. There's 6 instead of 4. Maybe it's the same width footprint overall, but it looks like less because the diameter of the booster main body is less. Like, huh?
Falcon 9 cannot do that hover, so it perhaps needs a bit more cushioning on its
Margin
landing.
in the legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Y'all, I know we're sort of rambling a little bit. This is so interesting to look at and think about. This is one of the reasons we do this sort of thing. Like, I'm not just a fan of the fire that comes out the back of the rocket. I'm a fan of the blue fixture over there that's going to make the rocket go horizontal. I'm a fan of the transporter. You can see that is the transporter, I think, Marty. There's wheels in the front and wheels in the back, I think. You know?
It must be the transporter.
I'm a
I don't
fan
know
of
what else it could be.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the drone ship, like how that comes in and out and station keeps. I'm a fan of the crane, like how that's. I love learning how all this stuff works. So I know we tend to sort of ramble and we're like squirrels with shiny things. Like, I don't know.
It's just fascinating how many things and parts and machines come together to make this all work.
Yep. I mean, they fired like harpoon bolts into the deck to attach the rocket to the deck. Like, how cool is that? It's not just about the 3 minutes of launch. It's about everything else that has to happen to make these things a reality. I'm a sucker for how cool it is.
But the launch is cool too.
The launch is cool.
Just
Yeah,
have to
the
say
launch
that.
is cool too.
But this is just as cool, in my opinion. Just
It really
like
is.
seeing this hardware out there and getting these amazing shots, and then, well, hopefully in a few days, seeing what they're doing right now, what they're going to do, how they're going to process it, and what I'm looking forward to is seeing over the next year or few years or so how they get used to the process and perhaps change a few things and to speed it up and get it more efficient.
Yep.
So that would be so cool to figure out and see that happening in real time from our own cameras in front of our own eyes.
Yep. Hey, let me say thanks to some folks who's supporting what we are doing real quick. I missed a couple of these and I apologize back here. But all the way back, Ron Smith, Julia, you got some contributions to the Julia Coffee Fund. It's early at Cape Canaveral from Ron Smith a good while ago, actually. Ron, thank you so much for chipping into the coffee fund.
Thanks, Ron.
There you go. Also, P. Cuber became a Pad Rat member, joining the membership program, getting access to the fire hose of content for space fans out there that we put on YouTube and our Discord and stuff. Wilbo Baggins, how's it going, Wilbo? Did a super chat with some curly L's attached to it, saying, was hoping you'd cover this. Thanks. We appreciate you, Wilbo. Thank you for always being around, sharing what we do. Bideford, Annette over there in chat says, or it didn't say, it's thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Always, always, always see that name in chat. One of our longest time, most reliable supporters. Bideford, thank you so much for always being a part of this and helping us keep this going. Got a store message from Alan. I gotta say this one. A little while ago, Alan says, never tell me the odds of this getting to the UK in time for Christmas. I can't tell you the odds of that getting to the UK in time for Christmas. We think that we're still well within the shipping timeframes. That knitted sweater has a sort of known production time, but we do ship them worldwide, so we were a little non-committal on, oh gosh, if you order it today, it's probably going to get there, but if you end up in like lower Botswana or something, I can't guarantee it'll get to the middle of nowhere, but I do hope that you get your fantastic knitted sweater in time for Christmas. Thank you so much for the support. We've got Mark with a store message saying, where is Jacklyn? Well, right there. It says, you can see it on the bottom of the screen. There's Jacklyn. We found her. That was one of those never tell me the odds prints you can see in the upper right-hand corner. And I got one more from Brett. So happy to see my little rover doing its job. Going to be proud hanging this one up in the office. Brett, I am so happy that we are able to capture stuff like this for you so that you have a reminder on the wall of your office of all of your hard work and the hard work of the teams who made this stuff happen on the wall. Is that your little snuffleupagus? Little elephant trunk rover that was driving around, plugging into the side of the thing? That thing was cool.
I love that thing.
It was like cautiously approaching it. It was like sniffing the bottom of the rocket. Yeah.
We could actually see it in the previous shot. From the drone shot, it's still attached to the booster and sitting right next to it on the deck.
Yep, it was. But folks, thank you so much for picking up some of those prints. It helps support the photographers. It helps us pay for the helicopters and boats, and it's not free for us to do this stuff. Just showing up really does help us. But when you get a print or something like that from the shop, we can't do anything other than say thank you for supporting us. Thank you for the trust. And go back out there again to keep capturing this stuff for you so you can see what's going on no matter where you are in the world. All right. It's not quite up to the dock yet, I don't think, but it is very slowly but surely approaching it. You don't want to like slam it into the dock and have the rocket tip over. That wouldn't be great. So,
Random
random thing.
Random thought. They don't need anything next to the dock like SpaceX does. You know how SpaceX
the bumper.
The bumper, yeah. They don't need. I suppose it's probably got to do a little bit more with the SpaceX drone ships have wings, whereas Jacklyn is basically one platform, so you can get your oh my gosh, I want to say plank, but it's not the plank. Your walkway.
Right.
From the dock over a little bit easier without worrying about getting too close and damaging things. But I imagine when they dock, they're just going to put down just standard boat bumpers. Yeah. Kind of cool, though. They're almost there from my perspective, though.
Yeah, you can see they're very slowly approaching the dock now. There's a bunch of people. You can see the people sort of walking around in the bottom of that shot. But they're very slowly approaching that dock right now. You know, now it looks like the crane's tall enough. I hope the crane can reach out far enough. I don't know if the stripy bits on the end were an extension they put on that crane so that it could reach. But now, from this perspective, now that the rocket has sort of got up next to the crane, it looks like the crane is tall enough. I just hope it has a reach for it.
I'm sure they've done the maths on that.
All right. I think the drone's about to start coming back in. I don't know if we're going to get any more drone shots before it gets its next battery, are we? Yeah, there we go. Oh, here we go. All right, we've got the live drone shot. But here on the left-hand side, this was actually recorded yesterday, day before yesterday. It was posted yesterday. There is that breakover fixture, and we see the big, massive crane sort of lifting that breakover fixture up. Now, I think this is just for the test. I think when they actually do it, that crane may be attached to the top of the something's got to be attached to the top of the booster. It'll be really interesting to see how this works. But there was some of that testing they were doing yesterday on the whole thing, like lifted up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Perhaps that's to like move it up enough so they can actually swing out of the way.
Yeah.
You don't want it scraping the ground.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how this works with a rocket on it. Huh. Okay, folks,
Absolutely.
real quick, Julia, I think you have to get to your real job. You've done your fun job this morning, and you have to go to your real job, right?
Unfortunately, real job calls, but the fun job has been extra fun this morning. So I will be more than happy to hand this off to Dee. We've got great weather in port for continuing to watch boosters. So I just want to thank you all personally for joining us this morning. And you guys have fun geeking out.
All right, Julia, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for getting up so early in the morning. On the way out here, another super chat, another couple dollars for the coffee fund from Gareth Cole. Thanks for getting up early and bringing us these views. You guys rock. Julia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Daz.
All right, and I think out there in this picture, it looks like a render. It's not a render. We know the guy flying the drone. It's not made up. It's like the lighting is so nice even. It just looks amazing. I think we've got D out there in the field. Let's see if we've got D on comms real quick to tell us
Let's
how it's going
see.
to the port. How you doing, D?
How do you hear me? I'm doing
Just
really well
fine.
out here. It's a beautiful day, blue sky. Like you couldn't ask for better weather for a booster return like this. A very, very light breeze. It's a great day to just hang out in the port and watch a rocket join another two rockets here. Like I think we had three boosters in here briefly earlier with Falcon 9s maybe, but now it looks like just through the instructions might be getting ready to head out, and we have of course Jacklyn returning with New Glenn. Like what a great day for spaceflight.
Absolutely. How are your views doing, G? Have you enjoyed the views this morning?
Yeah, they've been really good. And I have to say, this feels like the early Falcon 9 booster returns, where
Yeah.
there are crowds of people out here waiting, people who have worked on it, people who are viewers. Like, there are large crowds, even now, when we've been standing here watching it for maybe an hour or more just at this location. And there's still large crowds of people. So it is really great to see.
It's so cool to hear that because you sort of hear the Space Coast coming back alive. Like back in the 2000s, the not 2010s because 2011 was the last one, but you sort of had this feeling of life around the Space Coast when shuttle was flying, and that went away for a while. Like the whole excitement of space flight. I know that NASA and the VAB and Kennedy and everything were still there, but for years after shuttle stopped flying, it sort of died. Like you see abandoned buildings and you see businesses that went out of business when the tourism that shuttle launches brought to the area sort of went away, and Falcon 9 really brought that in back again. Folks coming out because you can see a rocket launch, and now we've got even more rockets coming back in, and the entire area just feels like it's reawakening. It feels like it's coming back. The abandoned buildings that used to not have anything in them because the interest just wasn't there are getting refurbished and rebuilt, and shops are opening back up, and all of these things that the Space Coast tourism has brought back simply because y'all these days it's getting easier and easier to watch a rocket launch. Like you go down there and you think you're going to see one, and you might get two or three. Like you went down there to see a Atlas launch. Well, I came to see an Atlas, and all I got was this Starlink. Like there are so many launches happening out of the Cape, largely due to SpaceX's cadence, and hopefully Blue starts adding into that ledger. It's just a really cool time to be experiencing all this. So I feel you, D, with the folks that are showing interest again. You know.
Yeah, and you really said it with the revitalization. Like I've only lived out here like 6 years now, and in that time, it's been changing dramatically. I'm sure if you go back another 5 years before that, you would see an even more dramatic shift. Like we have people in little Cessnas flying over the port right now. I can't say for sure that they wanted to just get a view of these rockets, but that would not surprise me in the slightest.
I wouldn't doubt it. There's just so many cool things to see out there that years ago you wouldn't have seen. Shuttle launches were amazing, but if they floated a booster back in, it was never anything like this. This is just an entirely different thing when we get Falcons and New Glenn and things coming in vertically like this. All right. It does sound like we have flown the drone so much, showing y'all these views, that I think we are done with the drone batteries for now. Like, we try to juggle and charge one while the other ones fly, but I think we've depleted them mostly so that we're not able to keep up with the charge rate, the amount we've been flying the drone right now. So let me say again, massive thanks to Jerry Pike for taking the drone out there and working with the port to get official permission to get these drone views. Of course, we'll have them all over the place for you. They'll be all over social media. Even the things we don't post, we will put in the member areas for you. If you're a member on YouTube, you're in our Discord or something like that, you can just peruse everything that we captured. That's another cool thing that you get by being a part of the member program. But massive thanks to Jerry for rolling out and flying that drone and sorting all the paperwork, because there was paperwork involved. There was paperwork. Let's see here. Checking in. A couple more things coming out of the shop as well. Let me say thanks to a couple more people here. And I think we will also, let's see how close this thing is to the dock. If it hadn't stopped yet, y'all watch it, A/B test it, and tell me if y'all think it came up to the dock. Courtney over in the shop says, morning coffee with Dawson crew. It's the morning show with Dawson crew. I don't have any, like, a soundboard or anything like that. That was a Flight 11 patch that Courtney got. Courtney, thank you so much for the shop support and the message that you put in there for us. Looks like another thing might have been in the same order. What was it? Survey says... a Starship achievement sweater. Nice. One of those knitted sweaters we've got. Courtney as well on that one. Thank you so much. And then Ryan Rude. Thank you for becoming a Pad Rat member, trying to open the doors to all of the content that we put. I do think here, folks, is it up against the dock? Did chat tell me if they are up against the dock? Grey Wolf, yeah, buying those batteries for the drone is not cheap either. You're not wrong. Like, a lot of those things are, they cost money to get these views. They don't just magically appear on the Google Drive. Corina Stanley, have y'all hit the like button yet? I don't know, Corina. How many likes do we have on this thing? 2,000 people watching. Yeah, okay. All right. Paul Amlin says, that was awesome. I watched it from Jetty Park, then drove down to the dock area. This rocket is huge. All caps on the huge and 3 exclamation points. 3, 4? A lot of exclamation points at the end. I think, folks, now that we've caught up with most of the coverage, we've got the whole like and subscribe out of the way, we've done enough merch plugs. We let y'all know about all the different ways you can support us. Remember, you don't have to do something financial. You can just be here in the stream. Send somebody a link to the stream. Let them know what's going on. Infect your friends and family with your space enthusiasm over the holidays is one thing that you can do. But I think that is going to be the end of this stream with the live commentary. You'll still have the views. We're going to send you over to Space Coast Live so you can continue watching the process here as hopefully that crane swings around, attaches to the top of the rocket, swings it over to the breakover fixture, and they lean this thing vertical so that it can be transported out. But out there today, thank you so much, Marty, for joining me here in the studio. We appreciate the help.
That was a lot of fun. It was so cool to see this booster come back in after it just launched a few days ago.
Absolutely. We'll keep an eye out, and Marty, you may end up writing something about the process here in one of our videos when we talk about what's going on at the Cape.
Perhaps, yeah. There's definitely a lot to write about, so we'll see.
I'm signing you up. Also, out in the field today, we had Julia Bergeron. You heard her voice. She ended up heading out to work. But massive thanks to Julia, one of our original fleet chasers, our booster chasers out there. She takes selfies with all of the rockets that come in, and I think she has well over, it's 100, 200, I don't know, an awful lot of selfies for these rockets coming back in. Massive thanks to Julia. She's not on the stream right now. She took off a little bit earlier. Also in the field, D. We have young comms, don't we?
Yes, it has been an absolute pleasure to be out here just watching, like, I can't tell. It might be making like a last couple inches towards the dock there as they prepare to get this new Glen booster on its side, which that's going to be so cool to see. We saw it with a Pathfinder now. So keep your eyes on Space Coast Live. It's been a pleasure to be on this stream.
All right, good deal, D. As always, thanks for rolling out with the cameras and providing us the fantastic views that you always do. I don't think we need a slow motion to this one, though. We're not going to play like a booster return slow motion, are we? I hope not.
Well, I wasn't planning on it, but now you mention it. I have like an hour of footage. I could slow that down 4 times. Y'all want to be here another 4 hours?
4-hour outro as we play slow motion. Just get the camera down to the wave so the wave motion is in slow motion, the birds flying past in slow motion. I think it's doable. And then also massive thanks to Max Evans. We didn't hear Max's voice on comms today, but Max was up in the helicopter on the first flight that I know about this morning, getting some of those aerial shots reflected in the prints in the shop at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. Thanks to the entire team for waking up and being out there. Also, Jerry, I know I said Jerry's name quite a few times, but Jerry doing the paperwork, operating the drone so that we could get you those drone views of the port. And then Jay pushing the buttons, pulling the levers in the production studio this morning. We had Mr. Jay Keegan making sure that all the video was being routed such that y'all could see it. Folks, really do appreciate you hanging out with us. Thanks for all the support, all the things coming into the shop, the Christmas merch and stuff like that y'all are picking up. This is a really cool thing to be able to do, and we wouldn't be able to do it if y'all didn't show up. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. We hope you had a good time, and we will see you nerds later. Thanks for watching.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, Atlantis.
Water towers fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange! 145! Oh my god! Oh my god! Decollage! Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?